What we see here is one of our beautiful cuts for our collection for this autumn winter 20, but also a direction of 21 spring. This is the 90s crop. And if you take a look to the sectioning what we did, it's very interesting sectioning. We sectioned the interior from the exterior. And when we take a look to the interior part, you see that I already sectioned 5 parts. But technically, this is going to be more parts because I'm going to devise these triangles in split later on. So you see that I took a fringe horizontally and I took 4 triangles at the interior part. We'll start focusing on the exterior area where we're going to use the razor over comb technique to create a beautiful soft shape what we really like to create. What do we want to create? Let's take a look to the 90s where Madonna had this really short croppy hairstyle, and that's where we're going to focus on. So beautiful curving, the curve of the scalp, so almost like a head hugging shape, using razor or scissor, whatever is comfortable for you, but also of course on the quality of the hair, and we're going to follow the curve of the scalp. If you use the razor like the one I use, we have right-handed people and we have left-handed people, and really important is that you move the razor as well as from right to left as left to right. Let me show you how that works. So when we start at the sides, at the temple area over here, we take the white side of the comb like this. We project the hair about 90 degrees and we move the razor, and as you can see now I move the razor from right to left. But in the same time I'm taking the hair again and I'm moving the razor from left to right. So from right to left and left to right. In this way you create a beautiful direction of the hair. Let me also show you the difference if you move just from one side than the other side. If you move only the razor from, for example, right to left, you can see that the ends want to move only in the back area, so only to the back. But if you move the razor also to the front, you see clearly now that the hair wants to direct in both directions, and this gives you much more styling options than just in one direction. What you can do at the sides here, at the hairline, at the contour, we can take the comb a little bit more diagonal and move parallel to the curve of the scalp. Move your razor, you see, so it's almost like a half a circle rotation, and that gives us technically a little bit shorter start and an increase to the back. So this is almost like a graduated form, but it makes it also really nice and sleek. Another great option now is you keep the length here. So for example, you still can wear the hair behind the ear as a styling variation. So after creating the length at the sides, we start in the back area and then in this area right behind the ear. We're going to do exactly the same. The teeth of the comb are positioned towards the scalp and we move the razor from right to left and from left to right. And we keep alternating this technique until we reach the other side of the nape. So while you work yourself from the right to the left side, we automatically can see the softness in the contour lines, and we can accentuate this by the razor over comb to do it horizontal, like I just show you now. So I'm actually pushing the hair in the lower nape area, even along the contour lines, to create that nice wispy, soft, really 90s look around the contour line. So after cleaning the contour lines with the razor over comb technique, you see that you get that really beautiful soft effect in the lower nape area. We're going to the other side of the temple area, and here we do actually the same on the other side. So we're going to mirror our technique, and that means that we're going to work from the contour line up to the top by following the curve of the scalp. We start low and we move the razor from left to right, but at the same time from right to left. From left to right and from right to left. Important is of course that you move your razor over your comb and not behind your comb. Behind your comb, then we sometimes create these oops effects where it becomes a little bit too short, so it's really important to move it over the edge of the comb, working yourself from the front to the back, moving the razor from left to right and right to left. And as you can see now, I'm working slowly to the back. I'm connecting my back area with the temple side area. Also here on the sides, I'm going to copy the technique what I just did on the other side, and that means that I'm going to position my comb also diagonal to the back and make that curve movement with the razor to create a soft graduated form at the side. So we really get that really nice tapered look here at the contour lines. We did the razor over comb technique at the sides, and now it's time to go focus on the 4 triangles at the interior part. So I'm going to release the first one here in the front area, and what I'm going to do, this first triangle here, I'm going to split it. So I'm going to make 2 triangles of 1 triangle, and in the right triangle, which I'm projecting right now to the ceiling, I'm going to create an increasing length. That means that I'm going to start from the crown area short and that my exterior part is longer. So I'll work from short to long. Project the hair to the ceiling, position your fingers diagonally, so you can see that the fingers are more in a diagonal form. Bring it back to the base and we cut it straight parallel to your fingers. So it's a really precise increase layering technique from short to long. Then the next triangle, I'm going to split this triangle again in 2 triangles. I'm going to leave the next one long, and the next triangle is also projected to the ceiling. I can take my guideline from a previous one with me, project it 90 degrees, your fingers are in increased layered form. We bring it back and we cut parallel to our fingers in an increased layered form. Next triangle at the crown area, release it. We split the triangle, we leave one part long and we continue working with the other triangle, also projecting it to the ceiling, and at the same time we can take a guideline from our previous line with us, project it to the ceiling, take your guideline with you. There we will want to start cutting, bring it back to the base and we cut in an increased layered form parallel to your fingers. So now what we have done, 50% of the whole interior is cut in an increasing length. In the meantime, we still have 4 sections long, and in these sections we're gonna make a complementary cutting technique, which is exactly the opposite. And that's not increasing layers, but that will be a graduated form. So for this graduated form, we're gonna start at the front hairline, the same as we just started to create our increased layers. So we can see here a longer section of hair in the front hairline. This area we will project not to the crown, because that gives us increased layered form, but we'll bring it more in an angle of about 45 degrees. And this way, we bring it back and we cut it. And automatically now you can understand why we subsectioned the front fringe area. Because by cutting this graduation, this might end up too short for your feeling. But there is still an area underneath it here where you can connect your fringe. So here we are creating now a graduated form. And these both forms, increased layered is more an oval shape, a graduation is more triangle shapes. And these 2 shapes are going to play and actually fight with each other. And that gives us that beautiful movement at the interior area. By the way, this technique works perfectly in the interior area because that's where the hair is laying down. At the side or in the back where the hair is hanging in the exterior, you get a total different effect. So also here we can see exactly a longer area where we're going to take up. So here we see our triangle still split up. So we bring it out, project it about 45 degrees. There we go. We cut parallel to our fingers. And this is the way how we're going to follow the curve of the scalp. Next triangle with a graduation, and here we can see our longer version. This one we're going to project in our graduation, and you can see that I'm exactly following the curve of the scalp. And the last section on the other side. Now, is there a way, you wonder probably, how can I check it? Well, there's not a serious way how you can actually check it. The way how you can check it is by feeling, touching, combing and analyzing it by eye. So that gives you that feeling. Because what we are looking for is this 90s feeling where there's a lot of contrast in length, but still a little bit blending. Of course, in the increased layered form over here at the top, there will be a soft overlap on the shorter areas in the bottom part. So what we're going to do, we're going to take our razor and remove the maximum discoordination of these lengths. But we really love to have still that little soft disconnection. Wait until we start with the fringe, just comb the hair down, and as you can see right now already, there's not a big disconnection. Everything is blending nicely together. But in case you have a little bit disconnection, just rotate the razor vertically through the hair, and this blends nicely the interior from the exterior. You can do this backwards or you can do this forwards. As soon as you make this blend between the interior and exterior, we can start working to the fringe area. And releasing the fringe. So in the fringe, what we like to do is we like to make a short but movable fringe, which is easy to move from left to right, but also from right to left. And a great way to cut this fringe is not to make it too much in a concave, because it gives us a short length in the middle and longer lengths at the side, but opposite direction. So what we actually have to do, we have to start working in a convex. That means that in the middle it's longer and the sides are softly shorter. How are we going to do this? We're going to do this as follows. We first comb the hair diagonal, like this. Going to take a section parallel to the way how we just comb the hair. We do a perpendicular distribution. Our fingers are standing parallel to our parting, and we move our razor from short to long. Important, as you can see, I'm not moving my fingers. The razor is doing his work, so only the razor is moving. Next section. You can project it a little bit higher. That gives us a softness, more softness at the fringe. Working from short to long. And you continue doing this until there is no length coming over your previous line. As you can see on the right side and top line, it's quickly done with the length, but here in the front you can still see that there's still length. Just continue combing. Here there is nothing to cut. Here there is a little bit more to cut. And we cut it off. Now what we have on this side, already the start of the convex. Now what we have to do on the other side is exactly the same. First of all, we distribute the hair to the other side. We take our first guideline, there you go, and we distribute the hair perpendicular. Important here is we use the razor overhand, so we have on both sides of the fringe the same feeling and texture. Distributing the hair to the other side. Position your fingers parallel to your parting and move your razor parallel to your fingers. You continue doing this until there is no hair left, and then let's take a look in the front. We see a beautiful convex, and that means that there is a V in the middle. That gives me the possibility to style the hair to the left, but also wonderful to style it to the right. So this way you have a lot of styling possibilities. See, this is really getting the 90s crop, the fun in the interior part where these two different shapes are playing with each other, like the graduated form in the increased layered form, and this gives me a little bit distraction in the length, and that's really something what I really love to see. You see the the movement of all these different types of hair. And all these techniques, how can we blend them? Well, there's only one way how we can do it. Is what I like to do is distribute the hair a little bit in the direction of styling. And then I take some diagonal lines, just large diagonal lines. It's not a reason that you take it starting at the front area, but as you can see, I just start behind it. Here's your shortest two short points, that means a graduated form. And what I'm going to do is take the razor, or scissor in this case, and I'm going to use it as a razor. So I'm going to slice through the hair from short to long. And actually what you do, you weave with the point of the comb and with the scissor, and you move the scissor to the length. So you take a triangle area, project it up, use your scissor and weave your scissor, and then you use your scissor as a razor. You push it actually to the end. And what is technically the difference between using the scissor for this technique or the razor for this technique? It's quite simple. If you use the scissor, you're actually creating a V in the hair. So you cut from both sides and you work from a wider side to almost one hair. The razor is also called like a feather razor, and it gives you more a diffused feathered effect. So there is a difference between using the razor, which is even more softer than this, but this gives me more a connection between the layers and the increased layered form. So what we did, we started at the sides by using the razor and the razor over comb. Really important is following the curve of the scalp and moving your razor from right to left and left to right. And it gives me that possibility of styling and restyling. Then in the interior part we created 3 triangles which we split again. And 50% of these triangles are cut with an increased layered form, and the other 50% are cut with a graduated form, and it gives us this beautiful texture. In the front, the fringe area, we created a strong convex. That means that it's longer in the middle and shorter at the sides. And this gives me, in the shorter types of hair, beautiful styling options. Either style it from left to right, right to left, but a beautiful movement. And this is what we really saw also in the 90s, where we were playing with the hair. It's almost parallel to the scalp, and it gives you a beautiful, round, textured feeling. Thank you for watching. My name is Patrick Kalle.